Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever it is, or whenever it is you watch this video. Well, we got something different. I got myself a new Dansco album, and it's about time I did some videos about my favorite coin. I can imagine that it's pretty easy to guess what my favorite coin is. See my logos, see my stickers, see the Dansco album, you can tell the Mercury Dime is my favorite dime. Came across a nice, really good used Dansco album, but in really good condition. And the Dansco album has such a great, like, old school feel to it. I think it's a perfect album for like a Mercury Dime collection or like a Morgan dollar collection, or the typeset album, obviously, that you may have seen me doing in other videos. But this series of videos, we're going to start about transferring my Mercury Dime collection as it sits right now into this book. We're not going to do it all in one video. We're going to have a little fun adding in some here and there. We'll start from the beginning and work our way to the back, and maybe give a little history of the Mercury Dime while we're at it. All right, so let's talk Mercury Dime. Okay, this is a nicer 1945, and we'll put this one in the book down the road. But it's the nicer looking one, so I wanted to use that one to talk about the Mercury Dime. So Mercury Dime, 10-cent coin, minted from 1916 to 1945. It's a 90% silver coin, and actually it's a winged liberty on the front. Now, the thing is, Mercury, the god Mercury, was depicted with wings on its shoes. A lot of people saw the wings on the hat and started to refer to it as the Mercury Dime instead of the Winged Liberty Dime. There are some people that get really hung up and will correct you every time. Not quite as adamantly as the cents versus penny crowd, but the Winged Liberty or Winged Liberty versus Mercury Dime is also one of those that get named incorrectly. So I love the obverse on this coin. You have that great bust, the wings on the cap, we have Liberty on the front, "In God We Trust" down in the bottom corner, and then the date over on the right. And then in the far right, you have the engraver or the artist's initials. And we'll go ahead and flip it over to the reverse. Now, the reverse of the coin, again, has some Roman history on the back. So the reverse of the coin has features of the Roman fasces. You have an axe tied to a bundle of rods with an olive branch intertwined. The fasces were carried by the Roman officials as a symbol of authority. And later in the 20th century, they got a little bit of a different connotation. But some people really liked it. Other people didn't. You may hear some people talk about the reverse on the Mercury Dime and mention full bands. So you have those bands that go across there at the top, the middle, and the bottom. There is, when it's struck and struck well, you should see a line of demarcation across those. It's really hard to see. This one is not full bands, but still a nice coin, probably an extra fine coin, but very, very cool one. So that's a little bit of history of the Mercury Dime. The key to the Mercury Dime series is the 1916D. It is a very valuable coin and is not one that you'll be seeing going into this particular collection. So that's a little bit of the history of the Mercury Dime. I'm a super big fan of it. It's a cool coin and has a really cool history of it as well. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. We'll start putting the coins into the book. Now, if you know about the Dansco albums or have some of your own or seen people fill in the books, you'll kind of see how these work. You have a spot for each one of the coins, and then you have a plastic insert that goes over the top that protects the coin, and a plastic insert that goes through the back. So it's very cool that you can actually see the obverse and the reverse of the coin in these particular albums. So I do have the 1916 Mercury Dime. Now this is G4 at best. You can't see any lines at all, but it's most definitely not the 1916 out of Denver. So I'll put that one in there. Next up, 1916. Now the mint mark on these down here in the bottom left. So I got that 1916 S. Slow focus on the camera tonight. 1917 out of Philly. 1917. This one does have a mint mark. Definitely want to have that loop close or that microscope close so that you can see the mint marks on your coin. That is a 1917 out of Denver. And then finishing out that first row, we have the 1917 out of San Francisco. You can see the wear patterns on these coins. They wear down really on the rim. The wings on the cap get worn down very quickly. And then on the back, again, you see the rims wear down very quickly. Many times it gets to be really hard to see the mint marks. And then, of course, your axe here is going away as well. So we'll go ahead and put that 1917 in place. Next up, we have a 1918. There we go, 1918, also out of Philadelphia. Again, you can see very worn down coin, but this is one of those where I'm going to fill the spots and then I'm going to fill them in and upgrade them as I get the opportunity. So here's a 1918 out of Denver. $19.18 out of San Francisco. $19.19, a little nicer. You can see some of the details in the wings. $19.19 out of Philly, a little more of a common date. Here's that $19.19 out of San Francisco. So just a couple missing up here. Now we're going to go to the 1920 out of Philly. Oops. Now we're going to go with that 1920 out of Philadelphia. Then the 1920 out of Denver. And last but not least, a 1920 out of San Francisco. So we'll go ahead and button that one up. And we'll go ahead and stop there for this video. I know we were just getting started, but we started filling this in from the very beginning, starting with that first year, 1916. We do have a couple of holes here, the 16D and the 19D as well. So hope you enjoyed a little bit of Mercury Dime history, and I'm excited to share my Mercury Dime collection as I move it into this awesome Dansco album. Appreciate the support from each and every one of you. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, tell your friends, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, have a great day.